Hey. Guys, welcome to my channel. This is a story of what if Sasuke regrets his decisions and want to make atonement for his sin. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel, it will surely help me, and also it will notify you on my upcoming videos, and check the description for the creator of this great fanfic. Thank you. Now let's start the story. Chapter 17 24 hours Konohagakure. The guards were bored out of their minds. Ever since the invasion, missions were more and more given out, and every ninja was taking his or her share. The one exception was the rookies, and Team Guy, who took a few missions. But their biggest concern was the disappearance of Naruto, Sasuke and the three others. Kakashi told them that they went on a mission, and he kept the details mum. Say, Hinata, do you think that your crush will be accepting you? Sakura teased her now friend, who blushed. Sakura was not stupid, just a bit lacking in her development. She and Hinata became really close after 7 months of camaraderie. Sure, the Hyuga was silent, meek, lacked self-confidence, but insulting Naruto made her utterly destroy the pinkett in a spar. What, see crush? I have no idea what you're talking about. The Hyuga stammered, only for Kiba to grin at her and Akamaru to smile, and Shino to block her exit. The three genins surrounded their teammate. Come on Hinata, spit it out. Kiba teased. Akamaru yelped. We're your friends, aren't we? Shino asked her seriously. Look, you don't have to be ashamed, we all know. Sakura teased as she thought about Jugo's protective side before she sighed. No, I will not involve him in some dirty political war. Hinata replied softly as they sighed. Well then, okay. I think that Ino and Jugo are a cute couple. Sakura teased and Hinata became a bit disappointed. Oi, Sakura. Kiba whispered. I see. Okay. Go ahead. Hinata replied softly as Sakura raised her hands in defense. I was only joking, you know. Sakura replied before she sighed. Sasuke-san had already chosen his one. Stop sulking about him, but why did he chose Naruto? Kiba asked Hinata, who sighed. Sasuke-san seems like the type who knows many things we don't. Who know what plans he already made? Shino asked Hinata, who was contemplating telling them. No. I have no idea. Last time I talked to Naru-chan, she told me that she really wants to know why he loves her. Hinata replied as teammate sighed. Their sensei was caught in a powerful genjutsu, making Kakashi take care of their training whenever he didn't have an S-rank mission. Surprisingly, he appeared while greeting them jovially. Yo, what's up with you kids? Kakashi announced jovially. You see, today you are free to do as you like. Team Kakashi will reassemble at last. Sorry about that, but Kurenai-sensei have already recovered. Sorry for not protecting her again. Kakashi whispered. Whatever genjutsu Itachi put her in, and that split second where he did so, made him realize that it was not a good thing at all. Kakashi-sensei. What happened to Kurenai-sensei? How did she get caught in a genjutsu? Sakura asked for the nth time. However, Kakashi sighed. Itachi said that he will hold back. Well, as cryptically as he was known to do. Sharingan. True heirs of the dojutsu or something else. Especially Sasuke. Kakashi replied as he thought of his prized students. Naruko was kinda book dumb, but she was recovering from that, and her calligraphy have improved enough to be able to use some pre-made fuinjutsu tags, scrolls, and the sort. You mean that Sasuke-san have that eye? Hinata asked in shock as Kakashi caught her game and nodded for one reason only. He knew how much she cared about Naruto. Phew, thanks for reassuring me, Kakashi-sensei. Oi, Hinata, what eye? Kiba asked only for the Hyuga to shoot him a deadpan look. Kakashi almost laughed when he felt her killer intent. Why don't you two ask Sasuke yourself? Not our secret to tell, you know. Loose lips sink ships, and if my student will get angry, he will definitely kill you too. Kakashi replied jovially. Sasuke was not a nice person by any means, but he was loyal to those he esteemed good company. A clan secret must remain a clan secret, Kiba, Sakura. Shino scolded his teammates who were about to rebuff, only for Kakashi to reply seriously. He will really murder you too if you know. Also, Hinata. Please don't tell anyone else. Kakashi warned her seriously. I think that my entire team need a psychologist, and soon. Well, see you around. And with that, he was gone in a shunshin. Sakura really wanted to know, but then again, she and Kiba remembered Sasuke's terrifying murderous intent, and they paled. He will really kill us. Sakura cried in despair. I remember his murderous aura. Actually, he made Lee and Neji terrified of him, and even broke Neji's arm after just 3 months of training. Kakashi-sensei is a true genius. Kiba replied as Hinata tapped her chin. I remember that they were promoted early. Hinata replied as Shino added. Whatever they did on that A-rank mission, it must have been something incredible. My father told me that Sasuke-san is not someone we want to fight or even spar with. Shino replied as he remembered how they picked up their training very seriously. Well, he and Hinata did at least. So, what do you think about Team Sasuke-kun? Sakura asked only for Hinata to give her a deadpan look. I don't know. They seemed too good, even Karen-san, their weakest, have more chakra than anyone else. Even Jonin's. She replied sadly, Sasuke-san's chakra is. Akamaru told me to never fight Sasuke, and that he was terrified of him, like he was shaking and trembling. It was when I looked at Naruto for more than a second and a half second. Kiba joked. Never do that again, Shino warned. With Team Tenten side. Once again Asuma was smoking cigarette after cigarette in sorrow and rage. Rage at Uchiha Itachi, and sorrow for his not-so-secret girlfriend. Itachi just put her on a genjutsu with a single glance, and she just recovered after an entire day of a comatose state. The worst part. Itachi mocking them. He felt the jab at his pride by Itachi's mocking tone, that he knows that there's a 13 years old is better than the both of them combined. While holding back. Who could that be? There's no 13 years old Anbu captain, is there? Kakashi arrived and Itachi just smirked as he told his partner that their job was done. They just disappeared into the winds, like almost literally. When Kakashi asked Asuma about Itachi's eye shape, he remembered that he told him it was a Sharingan. He heard Kakashi's sigh of relief in telling him that Itachi held back. The nerve of that arrogant jutsu stealing Hitaki, how dare he say THST it's no longer their problem. Of course it is his problem. Kaden. Goen. Asuma used his clan's Kaden Haijutsu, something that he knows that no Uchiha knew about. No Uchiha he knows alive at least. Asuma-sensei, do you think that the monster who did this to Kurenai-sensei will come back? Ino asked her sensei who sighed. I don't know, Ino. Let's pray they do, since I will take our pound of flesh. Asuma replied darkly. So, what can we do? Choji asked as Shikamaru shook his head. That's troublesome. I asked my old man about Sasuke's brother's abilities, and he just scoffed at me. He said and I quote, "Right your will son," as if I would die in that. You think that Sasuke would say anything? Shikamaru asked only for a voice to reply. About his brother's abilities. He became even more terrifying than ever. Kakashi replied lazily. I dare say that I might definitely die in a spar with him. He should have been the Hokage if you ask me based on power alone. The Hitaki replied sadly. Kakashi. What is wrong with you? Asuma asked the Hitaki who sighed. Had he been serious, it would have been your funerals. But he told his friend to hold you, not to kill you, didn't he? Asuma nodded. Kurenai tried to put him of all people on a genjutsu. Come on, he's the second best genjutsu user, tied with Shisui, God rest his soul. After his mother, God rest her soul. Kakashi replied wistfully. You mean that, the Uchiha Itachi learned many things from his late mother? Asuma asked Kakashi who nodded. How could he? Sasuke would never speak, and it is his secret. He told me that he abandoned his revenge after talking with his brother once. Whatever they talked about, I don't know. Kakashi replied dismissively, he spared you too. Least you can do is to continue your life, and stop seeking revenge for something so vain. Itachi is at least on par with Jiraiya-sama of all people. Kakashi advised his friend before he shunshined. The Sarutobi was thinking about it, and for a long time. His team were dismissed as they went to do what they usually do, hanging around. And they bumped into Team 8 before they decided to go visit their two hospitalized friends Rock Lee and Hyuga Neji. With Team Kyoryu, really. Among all the crazy things that you can think about, you talk about invading a village. Suigetsu asked Sasuke who shook his head. Why, it's more of a den than a village. Jugo replied. Otogakure was a lot of hideouts built underground. Like some viper's nests come to think about it. But still, really, it is a crazy idea. Karen replied only for Naruto to giggle. Maybe this will be some good training. I mean, Ero Sennin knows of pretty much all of the hideouts, no? Naruto asked only for Jiraiya to shake his head and for Sasuke to smirk devilishly. Let's just say that. I have a plan to know exactly where they can be hiding. We need some really good tracking team. Like the best tracking unit in the entire village. Sasuke replied as Naruto raised an eyebrow. I think that Kakashi can recommend the members for such a mission. Karen can come, or stay. Up to her. Thanks Sasuke. I don't know if I can survive yet. I will take the risk. Naruto smiled how her cousin was brave enough. It's okay, I mean you're our medic, you know. Sujitsu's reply made the red-haired girl blush. I don't want to lose you. Thanks Suigetsu-kun. Karen replied as Jugo and Sasuke smirked. Oh, this was good for the Hozoki. 5 minutes later Naruto beamed as she got in the village, while Sasuke scowled. His team were kinda indifferent, but they knew the reason for Sasuke's bad mood. This village mistreated all of their true heroes. Itachi, Minato, Naruto, Sakumo, Madara, and the list goes on. The rule of the Sandaime was mostly that of the council, which was a bunch of greedy, power-hungry, slimy self-interest politicians more than anything else. Tsunade-sama, do not try to cross me please. It will not do us any good. Sasuke kinda warned the older Senju who sighed bleakly. Why should I, Gaki? I mean, you are definitely one of the few that I genuinely respect, and you are a bunch of amazing ninjas, and also, you have my own interests in mind, no. Tsunade referred to the whole clearing her debts mission. Of course we will do it, Hokage-sama. Jugo replied seldomly. After all, the mission seems way too interesting to refuse. Suigetsu smirked at the prospect. Oh really kids? Karen asked the team of 3 bloodthirsty beasts. Come on, Karen nay, they need their dosage of delivering some moral judgment, ya know. Naruto asked her older sister who sighed. You need a shrink, you know. Shizune asked only for the 3 psychopaths and the 2 girls to laugh mirthfully. Sasuke forgot about it. We absolutely need to, but Sasuke, how about we burn an entire den of vipers, no. Sujitsu's question was met with the others glaring at him. Okay, I got it. Secret until later, but I'm in. No, we're all in. Ya bet your water soggy butt that we're in ya know. Naruto exclaimed in excitement. This earned her statement a few chuckles from the rest of the team but poor Suigetsu. Whatever you say, ramen addict. He replied while scowling. Oi, attacking the ramen is a heretic act to me. Naruto warned Suigetsu who palmed his face. You're a yogurt addicted, remember. Karen replied as the Hozoki almost fumed. All joviality was gone now and replaced by the bloodthirst as he grabbed the Kubikiribocho. Stop it ya brats. Jiraiya warned as the Hozoki sighed. Naruto shot him an apologetic look, and Sasuke raised his arms in, I surrender, motion. Guys really. We need to be a bit more respectful. Jugo said as Suigetsu smiled. Finally someone sane, who's ironically the craziest of the bunch. The second craziest compared to one Uchiha. About time. Seriously, you need to stop this whole chest puffing thing. Tsunade added as Suigetsu smirked evilly. Godime-sama, I guess in that department, none of us come close, do we? Sujitsu's tone was gentle, yet his words were not. Only for Sasuke to palm his face as Tsunade hit him. With a Raiden-added punch, which kinda hurt him. Ouch. That hurt. What did you say about my chest? She asked and he paled. Nothing. I mean you practically almost took a fight with all of us that day. He clarified. Oh, sorry about hitting you. If you do well enough on the next mission, I will promote all of you depending on the leader's recommendation. Tsunade said while smiling warmly. I refuse to be more than a chunin. Before I get married at least. Sasuke replied sadly. Tsunade's political mind worked and she understood the hidden reason. So do I. Naruto declared. Hey, we're a team, a one for all. Suigetsu begun. All for one. Jugo added. Kind of team. Karen finished. Either we are promoted together to the same rank, or not. So, what is it gonna be? Naruto asked Tsunade who sighed. Look, the next mission is a proof. I will postpone each and every one of your promotion until that date when you are married. Tsunade replied as Naruto tilted her head to the side. As if she read her adoptive daughter's mind, Tsunade replied, 17. Hey, so there's an age where we all can be promoted. Naruto asked as Sasuke smirked. Wait, I'm really sorry for holding you back, everyone. Oi, if it's because of your age, worry not. Sasuke replied. I told you that we are a team. Sujitsu's reply made Sasuke grin. Later Konohamaru rushed to the Hokage tower only to bump into a pair of big, soft cushions. He was called an arogaki by said lady, only for one Uzumaki to bump him on the head for his idiocy. What was the big idea, being a pervert, Konohamaru-chan? Naruto yelled at him indignantly as Sasuke smirked evilly. Suigetsu and Jugo were snickering. But when Konohamaru defended himself by probably angering Sasuke, Suigetsu put the kid's head into the hollow ring of Kubikiribocho. Now, Kono-chan, what about respecting your elders? Sujitsu's jovial tone betrayed his bloodthirst, and Sasuke smirked mirthfully. Well, I'm sorry about it, Naruto-ni-chan. Konohamaru apologized and Suigetsu skillfully sheathed his massive sword. Just don't antagonize my team, unlike me, they are not children-friendly, ya know. Naruto warned as Sasuke smirked even further. As soon as the young kid darted away, they all laughed their asses off. None of them would ever hurt any child. That was a line too far. Hey, you are an evil prankster Suigetsu. Karen observed. Sorry, Emoto-chan is a really bad influence. Suigetsu replied as Naruto sighed. A good prank sometimes isn't harmful. Sasuke commented. Let's go see her, maybe we will be able to do something. Sasuke. Naruto. What are you doing with this team? Shikamaru asked the two who waved and greeted respectively. Sujitsu's sword was almost drawn, before he decided to burn the lazy genius. Oh. Why it is the lazy one. So, is this your dad? Sujitsu's jovial tone was there like always. So, how many during the invasion? Held 10. Shikamaru replied and Karen scoffed. She killed about 10 chunins. 10 chunins. She replied. 50. Jugo said nonchalantly. 110. Naruto replied sadly. Only 220 this time. Suigetsu replied cheerfully. I didn't kill much, just 530. Sasuke replied unimpressed by his own kill count. You killed 820 total. Shikaku asked in total disbelief. What kind of team are you? The very best. Tracking, sabotage, capture, intelligence gathering, assassination. You name it and we can all pull it off, ya know. Naruto replied with a grin. Shikaku smirked as he dragged his son to meet the Godime. Oh, these three will be promoted all right. He saw Sasuke's and Naruto's faces, they were not the type who wants to be promoted so soon it seems. I think we broke the lazy deer. Suigetsu commented as the entire team laughed. It was a good day. So, we go in and take our mission. Yes, let's do that. Kakashi replied as he appeared only to be hugged by the five of them, Sasuke was included. Kakashi, did you get involved into a fight with Itachi? Sasuke asked his sensei worriedly, only for said sensei to shake his head. Good. If you see him, you just flee on sight. I found out the hard way that he is. The Uchiha then looked down, he was very disappointed in himself. Come on, Sasuke-kun, we talked about this, didn't we? Stop beating yourself up for something like that. Naruto replied as her boyfriend was now sighing forlornly. He kicked my ass. Like a curbstomp fight in taijutsu. I couldn't even fight back, I had just to guard or deflect. And yet, I got hit multiple times. Orochimaru thinks he can take him out. What a fucking arrogant idiot. I killed that abomination of a snake. And it was too easy. I doubt that I can win against my brother even if we fought 2 years later. Sasuke ranted as his team looked at him worriedly. Well, guys and girls, you did an amazing job. Come back later, I have an important meeting with Tsunade-sama, and Jiraiya-sama if you don't mind. Like now go get your payment, and then we'll meet in a restaurant, and we will talk, okay? Well, in fact, why don't you meet the others? Kakashi asked and his subordinates nodded. Since Kakashi himself got it, Sasuke however smirked evilly. Sasuke-kun. Naruto asked as her boyfriend turned toward Kakashi. HN. He grunted and she nodded in agreement. Explanation please. Sujitsu's question made Jugo nod at him and Kane open her palm and close her fingers in the gimme motion. Fine, Sasuke-kun said that Kaka-sensei had finally became an S-rank ninja. Naruto explained as the team were now amazed. How much does an A-rank pays? Jugo asked in curiosity. 100,000 ryo. But we did finish that F-rank, no. Naruto explained as Sasuke chuckled. His own joke was hilarious. In the Hokage Tower, there was a got debate about Otogakures and Suna's fate. Kakashi tried not tell his team about the gruesome plan of Suna, which involved killing civilians, and that they intended for Gaara to unleash his Biju, but whenever he thought about it, he felt his blood boil. Hokage-sama, please allow me and my team, along a strike force to go to Sunagakuer and cripple them for an entire generation or two. Kakashi asked Tsunade coldly. Shikaku and Jiraiya have done explaining to her about Sunagakure's plan to unleash Shukaku on Konoha to do as much damage as possible. That plan was too gruesome, even by shinobi standard. Denied, Jonin Hitaki Kakashi. But congratulations on picking up the Hiraishin. Tsunade's smirk made Kakashi almost lose his composure. I heard about the news from Genma and Rado, they were very talkative with Shizune, especially Genma. I guess that you will need 2 new bodyguards then. Kakashi replied coldly as Jiraiya snorted. Also, did my insane students do you any harm? Not quite. Nice kids you have Kakashi, especially that Uchiha. He seems like his ancestor from his mother's side, but apart from that. He's nice enough to propose 3 good ideas. One of which requires your presence, Jiraiya's and Shikaku. I ordered my bodyguards to summon Danzo. He will know exactly what he's dealing with. Tsunade replied before she sighed tiredly. I want you 3 to become my advisors. Kakashi is pretty smart, and he's also strong. Jiraiya is that S-rank sage, and Shikaku is the one guy who was able to get a draw in a shogi game against Minato and Itachi. I humbly decline the offer, Godime-sama. My team needs me. My students are, not like the others. I doubt any psychologist would be enough to heal their wounds. Kakashi replied sadly. With Naruto out of the picture, Sasuke had become more than a flight risk. While he knew about Itachi and even the truth of the Uchiha massacre, as said Uchiha spilled his guts, making Sasuke's story the truth, well, very well hidden truth, Kakashi was loyal enough to his team. Kakashi, what do you mean about your team needing you? Shikaku asked Kakashi, who sighed sadly. Sasuke. He replied before he sighed bleakly, the Uchiha have many damages, even from his childhood. I had a drink with him once, and dear Kami, he's a child of war. Like, neglected, no self-esteem, overprotective, jealous, sad, and honestly. If I dropped him off the shinobi program it would have been better, but then, he and Naruto had a relationship, and he warmed up. Now with her out of his life, who knows what catastrophe we're heading into. Kakashi replied in a foreboding manner. Sasuke was a damaged soul. Naruto was what held him together. So, why not? Jiraiya asked Kakashi, who shook his head. He's not just another prodigy. 5 chakra nature, yin release and a yang release jutsu that heals anyone instantly. Which he taught only to Naruto. The kid is just terrifying. I dare say that after his loss to his brother, he will need all the help he can get before we might have a full power Madara and no Shodai-sama. At this, Tsunade paled. Jiraiya gulped and Shikaku was now terrified out of his wits. That kid killed Orochimaru like it was nothing. Jiraiya commented. And yet he told me that Itachi had beaten 10 tons of dirt out of him. Kakashi interjected. Okay, change the subject. Here's the shot, I need you 3 to help me instill enough terror in Danzo and then the other 2 to understand that I am not my sensei. Can you help me? Tsunade asked only for Kakashi to eye-smile like a theropod. The Cyclops then gave her a sealing scroll. Every dirt I got on them. Don't ask me how, but Sasuke is very helpful. And let's just say that. He keeps his spending a minimal amount. Like how exactly, he wrote it down. Every facture was assembled and ready. His bank account, Naruto's parental bank account. Every single Ryo. Kakashi replied and she asked. Who was their so-called monetary guardian? She asked and Jiraiya replied angrily. Kaharu. At this, Tsunade's eyes narrowed as they nodded when Kakashi signaled them. Hello, Tsunade Haim. I'm happy that you took the seat. Danzo greeted only for Tsunade to narrow her eyes. Hand it over. Tsunade ordered. What are you talking about? He asked and she narrowed her eyes. I want you to cut the bullcrap and give me a list of each and every root agent. Their names, abilities, skills, age, and everything. And I mean each and every agent. Also, I want you to hand them over to be a division of Anbu. I know that you kept it under Sensei's nose. But let me ask you, am I him? Tsunade asked Danzo, who seethed. You can't do that, Tsunade Haim. Nei was established and made by me. Hiruzen knew that, and he disbanded it years ago. Danzo replied only for Tsunade to slam her fist on the desk, breaking it in two. I told you to cut the bullshit. Also, I know that you attempted to kidnap the last Uzumaki here. I know that you sealed her Kekkei Genkei. So here's what's going to happen. Option A, you give me full control over your root organization, write your jutsus on a book or scroll as an apology to my adoptive daughter, and then, you retire after one diplomatic mission. Option B, you die here and now. You have 1 minute to decide, so use it wisely. She replied as she radiated her killing intent. Danzo was thinking hardly about his odds. 10 Sharingan and a Mangekyo and the Shodai cells were enough for anyone else to be arrogant, but the Jonin and Anbu commanders, one of which was an S-rank ninja, and Jiraiya, and Tsunade, the two Sanins are there in the same room. Better play ball for now. I'm going to write the report and they will be here, all accounted for, Hokage-sama. Danzo replied as he noticed that Kakashi had his Sharingan uncovered, which meant that the Hitaki expected an execution. Don't forget the training regime. Without the entire killing your partner like, I dunno. Ah yes, Uchiha Madara. Jiraiya added and Danzo paled at the realization. You choose the least troublesome way, Danzo-sama. Shikaku replied as Tsunade smiled at the old man. Good choice. I look forward to our partnership, Danzo-san. Tsunade replied honestly as the man went outside while seething at his loss, yet he wasn't really sure what to do. Tsunade seemed like the strong, dependable leader, and he was getting too old. As he went outside, Kakashi lowered his forehead protector and sighed. Better than expected. When your house burns, you just take the most precious in it and bolt outside. I guess that works here. Shikaku replied seldomly. What about the other two? Jiraiya asked as Tsunade smirked. Oh, they will get it. Tsunade replied. Team Kyoryu Sasuke was just sipping some black tea, like Naruto. While it was hard to convince the Uchiha of doing so, it was his own liking of Naruto that allowed him to decide that maybe she was right. Maybe black tea was better than green. And somehow, the blonde girl was right. He saw Suigetsu and Jugo devouring cups after cups of yogurt, probably as a payback for him not keeping his word about the entire taking their prey thing. Okay, you were right for once about black tea being better. Sasuke muttered begrudgingly. Thanks, Tem-kun, but really, how will you manage being away? She asked her boyfriend in worry. Said boyfriend thought about it. I'm going to train to exhaustion. That way, I will not be thinking. He replied bleakly, a forlorn gleam in his eyes. The boy was hurt, more than he showed. Oh come on Sasuke, it's not like we're too far away from you, and she's in the village, no. Karen asked her friend who sighed and didn't even reply. Look, how do you feel? Jugo asked his friend who gave him an empty, lifeless look before he turned away. This is bad. They all thought at the same time, Sasuke-kun, I'm so sorry. Naruto thought. Sasuke-kun, look, I can cancel the adoption if you want to. Naruto said only for the Uchiha to crush his mug. Don't. Look, at least you will have some well-deserved happiness. He replied in a tone that left no room for discussion, my own is a small price. He thought sadly. So, now what? The team asked him only for him to sigh. He was strong, like hellishly strong. But mentally, he was kinda weak when it came up to his blonde girlfriend. Sasuke-kun, I will always see you, okay? Unless I'm pulled into a mission, I will always be too close to you only. I promise that I will never let you alone, once or more than this. Naruto promised the Uchiha who gave her an unfocused gaze, promise of a lifetime. Sasuke's eyes widened. Was she? Naruto, you. He said as he remembered how she promised Sakura to bring him back as her promise of a lifetime. He seethed as his memories hit him. How dumb was he? Oi, you know how big that is. Suigetsu asked the blonde who nodded seriously. So you will marry him one day? Karen squealed. Her little cousin was growing up tremendously. You bet that I will. Naruto yelled, shocking the entire team, and Sasuke chuckled before he laughed. What's so funny, Tem? Hey, I win. He replied with a smile as he shook his head, his eyes were closed as he remembered how he lost last time in a spar. I will submit to you, Naruto Haim, if you beat me in a true fight without holding back. So, now, you have 4 years. Sasuke-kun, don't tell me that you have a date for our wedding. Naruto asked the Uchiha who smirked at her. Sheesh, you need to stop planning, ya know. As long as you are well, I am fine. He replied. So, try to grow stronger than me. If you can. You better not start slacking off, cause that will make you submit to me, ya know. She replied smugly as he sighed. Freedom or Naruto? Well, doesn't matter anymore. Living without her is. I'd rather die. Sasuke thought only for his girlfriend to giggle. You better not throw the fight. She told him and he sighed. Oh, here goes his plan. With the other rookies, these guys are bad news. Ino told Hinata, who shrugged as they walked and talked about Team Kakashi. Only Naruto-chan and maybe Karen-chan seems normal. Sasuke-kun had done something horrible, I heard, and so are the others. Even Naruto-chan is terrifying. Did you sense their chakras, Ino? Shikamaru asked his teammate, who nodded. This is troublesome. I'm happy they decided not to participate. I mean, with one look, even that big kind-looking guy seems strong. But we would definitely win, don't you think, Hinata? Kiba asked his teammate, who gave him a sad look. Oi, don't tell me that we are weak or something. Naru-chan is very strong, and I doubt she got any weaker. As for the others, Jugo-kun is terrifyingly strong. Suigetsu-san is. I don't know. But Sasuke-kun seems like the strongest of the bunch. Hinata's reply made all of their eyes turn towards her. You don't mean that, Hinata? Sakura asked and Hinata sighed. I don't know how strong they are, but Jugo-kun was able to almost kill Ko-san, who is a Jonin. Hinata replied seldomly, he defended me in the invasion, only for Sasuke-kun to tell him and Suigetsu-san to fall back and protect Naru-chan. Whatever he did, they were all exhausted, but the biggest shock is that none of them had a single scratch. Shino replied as the other rookie's eyes widened in total shock. How strong was Team Kakashi? Oi, aren't they over there? Tenten asked as she pointed at a small cafe's patio. Sasuke-kun. Naruto-chan. Ino called loudly but excitedly. She grabbed Shikamaru and Choji by the scarf and dragged them. Yo, weaklings. Sasuke greeted nonchalantly. What was that? Kiba asked heatedly. How many ninjas you all killed? Suigetsu added. In all of us. I guess that we caused the death of 20. Shino caught 2. I caught 10. Hinata disabled 3. Kiba and Akamaru knocked 1 out. Sakura took care of the rest. Why? Shikamaru replied and Karen giggled while Jugo sighed. Naruto shook her head. Suigetsu cackled and Sasuke sighed unimpressed. 850. Karen replied. The entire rookies were shocked beyond description. Captured or killed? Shino asked as he sweated. All kills. Sasuke-kun is the first, Suigetsu-ni is the second, I'm third, Jugo-ni is fourth, and Karen-ne is the last. Better luck next time, Karen-ne. Naruto replied way too cheerfully. Oi, you're gonna catch something with that. I owe you 100 ryos. Suigetsu grumbled. Troublesome team. Shikamaru replied as Sasuke smirked. Sorry about the weakling thing. He replied seldomly. That Uchiha Sasuke apologized. The world is going to end. The entire rookies were shocked as Sasuke did another unexpected thing, he laughed mirthfully. Naruto was right, the others. Well, pranking them was hilarious enough. Oi, what's the problem with my Tem-kun? Naruto replied heatedly. He might be cold, indifferent, have no self-esteem, overprotective, jealous, possessive and crazy as hell, but he's the best thing that ever happened to me. You're too kind, Naru. Anyway, I am a human before anything. I am but a man with one heart. Sasuke replied before he snorted and the others were now chuckling. Sure, he's a psychopath by my standards, I mean who enjoys killing 500 plus. Not even Kakashi come close. Sujitsu's jovial tone betrayed his irritation. One more thing, I think that your Jonin senseis will tell you soon about his last exploit. Jugo replied as the others sighed. They took their seats and Sasuke became a mute. If not for him looking at Naruto and blinking, he would have passed for a statue. Team Kyoryu were kinda talkative. Idle talks about anything and everything, but their training and missions. Then, Suigetsu asked a single question. So, do you know about your affinities? Sujitsu's question went unanswered until Sakura replied. Suigetsu-san, don't you think that it is a bit too advanced for us? Sakura's question made Naruto's blood boil. What is too advanced? Are you kidding me? Jugo asked and as he saw the rookie's reactions, he palmed his face. Look, what are you training in? Karen asked and they looked down. Clan Haijutsu. Kiba answered as he pointed to 6 of them. Bukijutsu and Taijutsu. Tenten answered. Genjutsu and Iryo ninjutsu. Sakura answered. Sasuke now was about to leave, but Naruto's look and firm hand on his own practically made him melt. Is it? Sujitsu's question was met with 8 nods. Sorry then, you are not welcome. Oi, what do you mean? Kiba asked as Sakura barely held her tongue as the 5 others unleashed a bit of their chakras. It was terrifying. He meant that it only gets you so far. Naruko-chan here combined her Haijutsu with an elemental change, and it was something else. Karen replied as she sighed. I wish I had the same affinity. Alas, I guess that extra durable Haijutsu will be enough. She did it unconsciously at first try. Sasuke clarified the whole thing. Naruto taking Zabuza down was a work of art according to him. Nay way. Naruto was the dead last, no. Tenten asked in total disbelief. So, it doesn't mean shit. Karen replied. Most of the tests are good if you are a civilian. If you are a ninja though, you are doomed to die before your 14th birthday. Teamwork, the will of fire, stunting the growth. The academy program is flawed. She is a goddamned Uzumaki, and yet they judged her by her reading capabilities which Sasuke had to help her with. Math, history, economic, theory. What are we? Are we some ninja or what? In Kiri, the academy consists of one thing only. The art of killing, stealth, sabotage, misdirection and the general stuff. Suigetsu replied. 3 teams out of 10 each year. They told me about it. When you judge a fish by its tree climbing capability, I doubt the sanity of the village. It's way too friendly to the civilian to the point where ninjas are too lax. Hell, Orochimaru used grunts, none of them was special, but Sasuke here. I will talk more. No, you better talk to your senseis and parents about the S-rank mission that awaits. We're in because of our capabilities, which you all lack. So, you will train harder than ever, and if you would not, you will probably be totally helpless. Suigetsu, that wasn't nice at all. Karen scolded as Jugo shook his head. He's right. Logic says that we must pick more skills. Shino was the first to reply. It's too troublesome, but I hate to admit that you were awfully truthful, yet the whole jab was wrong. Shikamaru replied as Naruto slammed her palm on the table. Oi lazy Shika, stop complaining. Gigi's death was right then. Gigi will now rest in peace as he was. She begun only for Sasuke to kiss her. What the hell Tem? Naruto. He warned as she glared at him, before she recomposed herself and nodded. Good girl. He replied as he mussed her hair. I am not your pet, ya know. She said as she bit his arm. He screamed in pain as she released him, leaving 4 pits from her sharp canines and her teeth mark. Are you rabid? He asked worriedly and her eyes was now tearing. That was mean, Sasu-chan. She began as she was now pouting and almost sobbing. As he put his hand on her shoulder, she grinned mischievously and yelled. I was joking. She squealed at the top of her lungs. Sasuke blushed and turned away. Totally whipped. Shikamaru muttered to Shino and Hinata who both nodded. They became really close, and who knows? Maybe this meeting was fated. So, how about we introduce ourselves properly? Likes, dislikes, hobbies, dreams. Naruto asked warmly as Sasuke smirked and grunted. Fine Sasuke-kun. I like Sasuke-kun, my team, and my precious people. I hate those who lie at themselves, those who are unnecessarily cruel, traitors, and fangirls. I have cooking and training as hobbies, and maybe hanging out with precious persons. I dream to be the Hokage. On my own terms. Sasuke-kun loves me, likes our team, and my cooking. He hates many things and dislikes sweet things and natto. He always train, and take walks. His dream and goal is a secret that I won't tell. She giggled as everyone face faulted. HN. He smirked as he grunted in satisfaction. Oh, he will marry her no matter what stood in front of. He then became pale and then livid. But then, he clenched his fist harder than ever. He will murder the fuckers who would be his competition or an obstacle to Naruto's goal. Oh well, my turn then. Suigetsu begun only to stop. Ladies first. I'm sorry. He smirked as Karen blushed. Hokage's tower, you can't do that, Tsunade Heim. Sasuke-kun and Naruto are. Kaharu begun only for the Senju to grab her by the throat and lift her up. 2 clan heirs that you crossed. Now, you will retire after the mission, and you will have all of your assets liquidated, all of it bought after October the 10th year of the Kyuubi attack. All of it. You will return every single ryo you have stolen from the Uzumaki's, Uchihas and Namikaze's account. Every single ryo. By tomorrow morning. She threatened before she let the older woman fall down. Homura sighed mournfully. It was their time to pay for their crimes, it seems. If anything is lacking, contact me and Danzo. We will help with that. He said ruefully. He warned his teammate about the whole scheme, yet none heeded his wise advice. Good to know that you two will play ball. I hate killing elders, you know that. Kakashi said flippantly. Now get out of my sight. Tora, Neko, Tori, Buddha. You four make sure that Kaharu-san does exactly what she was ordered by the Godime Hokage, Senju Tsunade. The four Anbis nodded seriously as they started to escort the two elders to their doom. Hehe, never thought about this, Tsunade-sama. Kakashi replied as the two smug old ninjas left her office. Thank that Uchiha brat of yours. Although, he needs a psychologist, and a loving girlfriend which I need to rebuild her self-esteem. Tsunade replied jovially. He told me to crush my political opponents, and he was right so far. Kakashi, did you train his mind? He would make an amazing council member. Shikaku asked the Yondime's last student, who shook his head. Sasuke doesn't want to be involved in politics until he gets married, or engaged. Kakashi replied seriously. I don't know what goes in his mind, but I don't know if I can ever understand him. He's just an amazing gem. Did you just praised someone? Jiraiya asked the Hitaki, who nodded. Now then, onto matters at hand. Total annihilation of Otogakur. Kakashi replied seriously. Orochimaru played Tsunagakur, killed their cage. I originally planned to cripple Suna for 2 or 3 generations, but now, with Orochimaru dead, we can send a message to the world. Konoha is not the weakling they assume we are. So, the Suna siblings talked, huh? Shikaku asked as Kakashi nodded. Also, Suna relayed the information 2 days ago. The council said that they will be sending them the treaty once signed by Godime-sama. Tsunade read the treaty before she shredded it and used some Kaden chakra to burn it. Denied. She announced as the 3 men's sweat dropped at the display. Okay, so, what treaty do you have in mind, Tsunade-hime? Jiraiya asked the Senju, who sighed. Kakashi, I want you to report to me everything about the invasion. Every planning, everything that happened. Everything. Tsunade ordered Kakashi, who gave her a very detailed report. Ibiki was soft with the prisoners of war. However, their kind words and mercy was enough for the 2 older siblings to sing like birds. The more they heard, the more they decided to keep professional enough to not harm them. You're prepared for everything, Kakashi. Shikaku observed. Kakashi just eye-smiled as decided to do the right thing by anticipating the next move. Tsunade just whistled as she wrote furiously the new terms and conditions before she gave it to her 2 temporary advisors before they nodded in unison. She gave them a meaningful look. So, what's lacking? Tsunade asked as Kakashi eye-smiled. Jiraiya sighed and Shikaku stroked his beard. The Suna siblings becoming Konoha ninjas. Kakashi replied as the other 2 gave him a serious look. Wind jutsus being handed over, well, not a lot, but a few, like a dozen or so. Shikaku replied. Also some puppets. I think that we have a few other terms for a general surrender. Jiraiya reminded. In exchange, we'll give them more missions. Also, some joint missions, and we'll give them a better trade agreement. Nice terms. Anything more? Tsunade asked and Kakashi eye-smiled. Discount on good and merchandise from Hino Kuni. In exchange, more poisons and information about wind chakra. Kakashi explained as Tsunade's eyes widened. You're crazy, you know that, Kakashi. Tsunade replied as the Hitaki nodded. We have to try. In exchange, we're giving them more details on changes in chakra natures. The Hitaki replied as Tsunade finalized her terms and conditions. That's amazing, Godime-sama. You will be doing an amazing job. Shikaku commented. One last thing. I want you to assemble a few strike teams to crush down Otogakur. You have 24 hours to assemble the team, and the plan will begin then. Now you are all dismissed. I have 2 things to do. Tanad said as she made a kage bunshin. You know what to do. With the rookies, Sasuke was now deep in thought. One thought that lingered was the entire Naruto and him not sleeping in the same house situation. The more he thought about it, the more he felt all alone. He sighed forlornly for the last time before he recollected himself. Yo, What's up kids? Kakashi arrived with a shunshin as Sasuke shot him an empty look. Dead. He replied seriously. At this, everyone looked at him in shock. What did he mean? But you're still breathing, no? Choji asked and Sasuke pointed at his heart before he slumped down in total defeat. He was empty now. I'll visit you, each and every day, Sasu-chan. Naruto told her teammate who had a ghost of a smile. Whatever. He replied as he thought about what he did. Napping. Okay, fine, suit yourself, Tem-kun. She replied and he smirked. Stop caring, Yuzuratonkachi-chan. He replied sadly. Kakashi cleared his throat. Team Kakashi, let's bounce and talk. Kakashi ordered and Sasuke jumped up and kicked the chair with the right amount of force to push it back in place. Let's scram. Suigetsu replied as he stood up and spun around while slapping the chair. The other three chose a less dramatic way, and Naruto was kind enough to wave at the others. As the team were far enough, Karen asked the question that was on their minds. Kakashi-sensei, why did you want us to come? Karen asked as the rest gave him the same look. You have 24 hours of vacation, no training, just doing whatever you want to do, like anything you do that does not involve training. Then, we have an S-rank mission, destroying Otogakure. Kakashi announced as the entire team, even the depressed Sasuke, was now grinning. Sasuke especially was trembling with excitement. It's been too long since he did something THST involved killing thousands. Why is that, Kakashi-sensei? Naruto asked as the Jonin I smiled. Because one of you killed Orochimaru and his three stooges. Kakashi answered jovially, and Jugo and Suigetsu shot Sasuke a dirty look. Okay, what happened? He took our praise. Suigetsu replied irritated to the bones. Oh I see. Sasuke, what did we talk about taking each other's praise? Kakashi asked his student who sighed. What do I need to do now? My closest person is moving out and I don't know if she will find someone better and move on. Sasuke replied dejectedly as Naruto hugged him. Will I find anyone who can love me as much as you do? She asked and he sighed but shook his head. So. You loved me a true undying love, not some lust like anyone else who'd be trying to get into my pants. I think that now, I will murder a lot more than I should. Sasuke replied calmly. Kakashi's eye widened. His student was a monster. So, I think that we might have some sleepovers. Naruto asked Sasuke who smirked. Oh this is going to be a good day at least. Hospital Kakashi looked at Asuma worriedly. The Sarutobi was clenching his fist tightly. Kakashi put his hand on his colleague's shoulder. As Asuma was about to snap, Kakashi looked upward and then shunshined. Asuma followed the Hitaki to the roof. What's your problem Hitaki? Asuma asked Kakashi who gave him a cold glare. You are. Look, I understand what happened to Kurenai is unfortunate, but let me ask you, did Itachi's Sharingan shift shape? Kakashi asked the Sarutobi who gave him a confused look and shook his head only for Kakashi to eye smile. He held back a lot. Itachi is a beast, like a total monster that I doubt that even Guy would be able to stop. His partner. He's actually weaker than him. Now then, let me tell you one more time, had he been serious, he would have killed you both within the very first second. How the fuck do you know? Don't tell me that you were with that trait. Arg. Asuma didn't even finish his words when Kakashi was now completely immobilizing him. Be careful, Asuma. I met him, fought him, and he told me that he does not want to kill any Konoha shinobi. All he wanted to do was talk with his little brother, and that's it. He was surprisingly civilized, friendly, and polite. Would you believe that when I asked him to come back home, he replied that as much as he wants to, there is a task he wants to complete. Now, what did you two said to piss him off? We told him that he's under arrest. Asuma replied and Kakashi immediately let his old friend go. I'm done. Kakashi replied too calmly. Inside however, he was seething. Why were people so fucking dumb? It was the procedure Kakashi. Asuma replied as Kakashi sighed. Whatever, I need a drink, and that's after I find a few people. See you in the bar. Kakashi replied seldomly before he disappeared. Uchiha compound a sea of Narutos were repairing the houses. Fortunately, Sasuke's house was the least damaged by 5 years of neglect, all it needed was a swift clean-up, and that's it. Karen took the house on the opposite side of the walkway, Jugo and Suigetsu took the houses on the left and right respectively. As soon as they finished everything, Naruto wasn't done yet as she used some of the wood as a medium, she made many furnitures. Enough for her teammates to thank her profusely, making her blush in embarrassment. Now then, where do we sleep over? Naruto asked Sasuke, who went in before he sighed and got out faster than ever. He shook his head at her. Sasuke-kun, you're still. He nodded. I understand your pain, my brother. Suigetsu muttered sadly. We'll be always here for you. Jugo replied. I will always be visiting, Sasuke-kun. Naruto replied, and it made him smile a bit. Okay, we have 24 hours, how do we waste time? Karen asked Sasuke, who thought before he fished a swimming trunks, and his other teammates did the same. There's a lake where I learned how to swim, my Kaden ninjutsu. You name it. How about we go there for a few swimming? Sasuke asked, and Naruto's beaming, white teeth grin made his day better. Okay. I missed swimming. Suigetsu replied as Jugo gave them a shy look. It's easy, we're here. Just follow your instincts. Thanks for listening. I hope you guys liked it. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a like for more what ifs and support the author. See you guys in the next video.